One of the many unconventional planks in Donald Trump's 2016 platform was getting the U.S. out of foreign quagmires. It turned out there was a deep reservoir of support for that idea, and so he won. But promising you're going to do something and trying to do it is not the same as doing it. It turns out unelected bureaucrats can prevent you from doing it if they so choose, and in this case, they so choose. Latest example, on Sunday, the White House announced that U.S. troops would be withdrawing from northern Syria, and in Washington, people went insane immediately.
What we have here, guys, is a betrayal. What we might have in the coming weeks is a bloodbath.
With his impulsive idiocy last night, Trump has endangered not just the Kurds, but the progress made against ISIS, and in fact, the entire region.
What is happening now, and the message that's being sent by the president, is that those promises don't matter, that we're not going to stand behind it, that the American handshake doesn't matter.
I can't figure out anybody in Washington who thinks this is a good idea. Trump is betraying our allies, the Kurds, who have bled and died to defeat ISIS.
I woke up this morning to hear that news, and as I do, it seems like 6 days a week, I just put my head in my hands. This is bat crazy.
Yeah. Say the people who actually destroyed American prestige consistently over decades. Those are the people who did it. Well, in a conference call with reporters yesterday, an unnamed Trump administration official, believe it or not, did his best to placate the morons you just saw on the screen. Trump may have said repeatedly that he wants to pull out of Syria, but don't worry, a full pullout won't happen anytime soon, the official assured those on the call. Gil Barndollar is a retired Marine captain and a senior fellow at Defense Priorities. He joins us tonight. Gil, thanks so much for coming on. So are you surprised? The president unequivocally states, and not for the first time, his intention of doing what voters voted him into office to do, which is move these troops. And Washington basically says, no, we're not allowing you to. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this story before, right? Look, we should have left Syria 6 months ago after we destroyed ISIS's last stronghold. We've got no vital interest left there. And, you know, instead, there's universal pushback within the establishment, as you've said. And this looks like a tactical pullback from the border, not a real withdrawal. So I think the president, unfortunately, hasn't demonstrated the courage of his convictions.
So you want to believe in democracy. You want to believe that over time, on the big questions, the majority can have an influence on the course of the country. But I'm starting to think that maybe they can't, and maybe it's not real, and maybe Max Boot and other assorted dumb people are actually kind of in charge.
Well, what happens on the Hill is the most disappointing thing, right? We've got a war that Congress never authorized, and they're climbing over each other to denounce the president for trying to end it, at least rhetorically, although, as I said, the reality probably isn't there. That's probably worse than everything you hear among the pundit class.
That's right. And that's such a smart point. This is a war they didn't have the courage to make it official, to make it a legitimate war. And now they have the chutzpah to lecture anyone who's not in favor. Why shouldn't they be required to be on the record in support of this thing if they actually support it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the authorization for the use of military force is a farce. You know, we're still fighting in countries, you know, all over the greater Middle East on an authorization that was designed to track down al-Qaeda in the wake of 9/11. So that's one of the problems. But obviously we've got a cultural problem in Congress where half of those people, at least in the Senate, think they can be president, and that's the priority, being on TV, not taking, difficult stands.
I mean, we ask the services to do an awful lot, including in Syria. I mean, this must be dispiriting, I would think, for them.
I think it is, but I think people get the mission when the mission is a very narrow, focused, and kind of achievable mission, like destroying ISIS's physical caliphate. When we're stuck there in the definition of mission creep there, stuck in somebody else's, waiting to be sucked into someone else's civil war, I don't think that's tremendously encouraging or something people want to do in uniform.
I honestly can't imagine a worse position to put Americans in. I think it's shocking that we would do that. Gil, thanks so much for your perspective tonight.
Good talking to you.